Hello my friends and welcome to episode 53 of the MightyMiniatures campaign. Today is plot day. Everyone's watched me do these story missions before, so I don't know how entertaining this is going to be. I'll find something else to talk about rather than talk about the actual game. So I was kind of thinking about the inconsistency of BattleTech lore, and it's sort of more or less a product of its time. If you look at some of the old BattleTech stuff, you know, you'll see things like mechs that have lasers that look like big cathode ray televisions, and oh, I forgot you have to bring her along. You'll also see control interfaces that, you know, are all very clicky, switchy, dial-y kind of things, and, you know, big monitors and screens and all that kind of stuff. And one of the interesting or most interesting lore inconsistencies that was introduced in BattleTech was the sorry, while I'm here, I'm just wondering whether I should actually bring the Hunchback or bring something a bit more heavily armoured. Just a little bit less firepower. I think we'll go for the heavy armour since this is a defensive engagement. Anyway, one of the big inconsistencies was to do with the engines of mechs or power plants, whatever you wanna call them. So, back when BattleTech was first becoming a thing, the main idea in terms of power is people were using nuclear power as the de facto future technology that's going to be amazing. And so Stackpole, the guy who wrote a load of BattleTech books, and I'm pretty sure he wasn't the only one, they sort of wrote a load of BattleTech stuff under the idea that battle mechs would have nuclear style reactors. That was the misunderstanding anyway. And obviously such things can explode very violently, and so they had ideas, rules for such explosions. And basically the computer games, all the early ones at least, they all had the... Oops, I faced the wrong way there. They all had this idea that mechs under dire circumstances could potentially explode in a nuclear way. Even though the terminology I believe that was always used was that they had fusion reactors.
Be careful of those things.
Anyway, that increasingly made less sense as time went on, as we, you know, advanced, as humanity advanced, and we came to understand power systems much better than we do now.
Tell me what you need.
A lot of the inconsistencies of BattleTech, both minor and major, were re-examined. So,
I'm moving.
The idea that mechs would explode in some sort of giant nuclear fireball of death, well, that just didn't make any tactical sense. Why would you allow that? And anyway, if you have a small nuclear reactor now, the potential for that kind of meltdown is basically non-existent. And, you know, likewise, there are many other sort of things in BattleTech that didn't quite make sense. So, you know, over the time and over the rule set and all that kind of thing, the lore has been retconned or refined, however you want to slice it, to be more internally consistent with our understanding of the real world. This happens to franchises that are really old. Like, the longer that they go on for, the more actual real advancement that we make. And by we, I mean, you know, humanity as a whole. And then some sort of, you know, future tech or whatever that seemed like it would be really cool and it would be a thing that definitely happened in the future, ceased to make any sense. And so you either leave it as it is, or you retcon it. But you don't really want to leave it as it is because you're trying to make a game about the future.
Easy on the armor, buddy.
And if you have one that's, you know, a highly improbable future, then it just kind of doesn't make any sense as a future game.
Engaging target.
So there we go. Now,
enemy unit destroyed.
I have always seen BattleTech as a dystopian future anyway. You know, it's a lot of internal political wrangling nonsense going on in BattleTech, and there's a lot of old school nobility sort of
Reading you loud and clear.
feudalistic kind of garbage going on. And
Neutralizing threat.
I actually feel like it's internally consistent for
Flagged a hostile
stupid
vehicle.
things to happen. So, I mean, if you had a facility that made small portable nuclear reactors,
Ready for
why wouldn't you use it? Right? I mean, if the reactors had the capability, or they had the output to run a battle mech,
Got it.
why wouldn't you consider using them? Despite the risks. I mean, there's a lot of desperation going on in BattleTech, right? There's a lot of houses or whatever who quite regularly do some very desperate things to stay in power.
I'll do what you ask.
Surely using nuclear power would be one of those internally consistent things. I mean, there's a whole galaxy out there in BattleTech that's reachable. Is no one using nuclear power for anything at all? A lot of the vehicles use what is described as ICE, internal combustion engines, which we presume would be some sort of fossil fuel style engine system, which is fine. But my point is, or my question is that for such a technologically advanced game, relatively speaking, where are the where are the other technologies like nuclear?
Enemy unit destroyed.
And so, what the point I'm sort of getting to in a roundabout way is, BattleTech only makes sense
Aye, aye.
when you see it from a non-perfect perspective. So, like, a lot of people are like, "Oh, the dragon is a piece of garbage," and it is. Or the banshee is a piece of garbage, and it is. And that they need to be balanced. They need to be changed to make them viable, to make them useful.
Enemy vehicle.
But that, I've always felt that's not the point of BattleTech, right?
Good to go.
The point of BattleTech is that it's, you know, it's the dystopian inconsistency of real life. You know, in real life, not every design is a good design. And when people are at war with each other, sometimes good design gets thrown out the window for whatever you happen to have lying around. You know, perhaps
You have my
a
attention.
situation is desperate and requires
I'm on the move.
requires units to be fielded immediately. Now, let's say a particular mech, like a disco back, you know, it requires 8 medium lasers or whatever. And there's a shortage of medium lasers, or the medium laser factory gets destroyed, or whatever.
Waiting for orders.
So then you make a hunchback with whatever you happen to have lying around, right?
Right, Commander.
Say you have a small laser factory that's still operational. So you retrofit all of the medium lasers out and replace them one for one with oversized small lasers, which have significantly less range and less power, but they're what you have. They're what you've got. So you use them. Now obviously the small laser hunchback with the oversized laser fittings to make the small lasers fit into the medium laser hardpoint are going to be rubbish by comparison to one that's actually got its proper medium lasers. But that just might have been necessary to win a war or engagement on a planet. You know, there's no chance of supplies or reinforcement. You have hunchbacks, you're manufacturing them. You still have the small laser factory, so you're manufacturing them, but you can't produce medium lasers because that factory got blown to bits. So you do what you can, you do what you must to win your fight. And that's what BattleTech, for me, has always been about.
Standing by.
And so all this sort of, oh, the game must be balanced, the game must, you know, must make every mech viable, every build viable, blah blah blah. I don't see why, and it diminishes the game to do that.
Commander.
You know, if every mech is viable, then every mech is good. Then it doesn't matter what mechs you have because they're all good. So you will never be in a situation where your first assault mech is a Banshee, and the Banshee is not that great. Okay, that's fine. And that's a situation that you have to struggle with.
On my way.
But in a situation where everything is balanced, it's not a struggle, right? You're just like, oh, I have a Banshee. It's the same as a Jaeger mech or a Victor or whatever. You know, it doesn't matter what mech you have because every mech is equally viable. You know, obviously they'll have different hard points and so on. But if every mech is equally viable, then there's no sort of challenge in making something that's typically rubbish work. And therein lies my problem with overbalancing, I guess, is what I want to call it. Sorry, I'm just deciding where she's going.
Copy that.
You can't just...
Locked on and firing.
You can't have, in my opinion, an interesting universe where everything is absolutely perfectly balanced. This is sort of one of the reasons why I have come to dislike a lot of role-playing games. You know, in a lot of role-playing games, certain weapons were just rubbish.
Good to go.
Right? And certain weapons were good. And so, you know, more often than not, you'd be in a situation early on where you found a lot of rubbish weapons and you just used them because they were all you had. And then you would switch to better weapons as and when you found them. But if every weapon is completely viable, then there's no real sort of need to switch from the first weapon you find. If you find a sword right at the start, and it's equally viable to a knife or an axe or a hammer or whatever, there isn't really any material combat difference, then why ever switch? You might as well just stick with the first weapon you find, right?
Engaging multiple targets.
So anyway, this is a long rambling thing, but where I think BattleTech is still very unique is that it does have that sort of realistic dystopian aspect
Move into position.
where we basically say that some things are simply bad just because they're bad. They were made out of desperation or necessity, or the scientists just fluffed them up. And that's okay. Ooh, that hurt. I was kind of hoping to have him dead before he fired, but whatever. She'll be facing the right way in a minute. That heavy rear armor is very useful on my mechs, but she's not got heavy rear armor. By the way, I'm using all of her weapons because as per the original rules, any pre-built mechs can just be used as they are. And that's just to get me through missions like this quickly,
Heads up! You got more of those little bastards coming
so
in
I
from
don't
the
have to
vents in the
fluff
rock.
around.
I'm on the move.
Right, let's get some work done. How come I've got an indirect marker? Oh, okay. That'll be why.
Copy that.
Now, anyway, moving on from that. Well, not really moving on, but getting straight back to the same topic. One thing which I think BattleTech could do with more of is, so at the moment, BattleTech is incredibly standardized. It's like everyone in the galaxy uses the exact same standards for everything. And so, like I said before, although the main sort of BattleTech mythos does not use, well, lore I suppose is the right word, it does not use hard points at all. What I wanted to say was,
Engaging target.
there's no sort of inefficient stuff. So there is no 1-ton small laser, for example. In my Hunchback example, I was saying like we couldn't fit eight medium lasers because we didn't have them. So instead we fit small lasers. But you know, under the rules, you would have to fit 16 small lasers, or you'd just be wasting tonnage. There's no sort of variance to anything. No one ever
We've lost contact again.
overcharged a small laser with a medium laser power supply and was just like, you know, whatever, we'll go for it. Maybe they burn out, maybe they don't focus properly, like, whatever. And a lot of that comes from the tabletop. So the thing about tabletop, obviously, is that you have to keep it very simple.
Waiting for
No one
orders.
wants to be sat there with a scientific calculator
Coordinates received.
trying to work stuff out, when they
Firing on
just want to
target.
play a tabletop game with their friends and roll a few dice and have some fun and drink some drinks and then get increasingly drunk, and then
Movement
you know
now.
the tabletop game gets increasingly more wonky. You know, to have that enjoyment, to have that experience, your tabletop game's got to be as simple as possible. But video games have no such limitations. They do all the calculations for you. So there's no need or reason to keep it simple. You can have, you know, you could have 50 variations of a medium laser. Each, you know, you could have a medium laser that does 26 damage. You could have a medium laser that does 28 damage but has 5% less accuracy. You could have a medium laser, like, you could have the electrical grid of each mech mapped out, how much power the power plant produces, how much power is therefore available for laser weaponry, blah blah blah. You could have an abundance of power. You could do things with the abundance of power by overcharging things, blah blah blah. There's so much potential for the franchise, but what it does need to do is it does need to let go of
Yes, Commander.
the sort of limitations enforced on it by the tabletop game, basically.
Commander?
There's a lot of development that the game could take if you further developed the world without the tabletop in mind. So as I was sort of saying before, in the tabletop you have to keep everything as simple as possible, because people have to calculate in their heads or with sheets or whatever, you know, how much damage has been done, and you got to limit the weapons and all that kind of stuff.
Reading you loud and clear.
Basically, there's so much more that can be done that isn't what the clan sort of update or
I'll do what you ask.
changes, expansion really. That isn't what that did. So what the clan stuff really did was it just added a load of things that were just much better than the original things. And the limitations of them were generally ones of cost, ones of rarity, availability, etc. But generally, what tends to happen is, if you include clan stuff, then Inner Sphere stuff just goes out the window because it's not as good. And that's the bottom line. Whereas what I'd more like to see is things that are more developed than that in a realistic way, more detailed or more nuanced, maybe.
I copy.
So, you know,
Sounds smart.
to give an example, perhaps the clan laser does do more damage and it does way less. That's great.
Ha, got it.
But
Samire,
it's
broadcast
more likely to
now.
take damage when a mech falls over because it's more compact or has less redundancy, or it's more likely to overheat and take internal heat damage, or it draws more power from the power plant, which causes power stress, blah blah blah. All of these sort of concepts and ideas, just throwing them out of my head here, could all easily be integrated into a computer game.
Holding here.
But you would struggle to put all that level of detail
Let's go.
into a tabletop game. And so that's sort of what I'm saying now is, now that we have a BattleTech game, a strategy game, that's actually, you know, truly got a lot of potential,
Stabilizing.
it might really be time
Cooling
to
system.
shed a bit of the
Roger that.
past,
Venting heat.
of the BattleTech
Stabilize.
past, and develop the world a lot more, even if we have to retcon. So we've been retconning for a long time now in BattleTech. That was my first point. As our understanding moved forward, we, you know, dismissed the idea of mechs going up in big nuclear explosions. In the same vein, we can dismiss the idea that every weapon in the every medium laser in the galaxy is exactly the same. Exactly the same. You know, maybe medium lasers on different planets were made from different materials because they couldn't
Mission
find
successful.
the standardized materials. Maybe one planet couldn't find any materials for making steel or aluminium or whatever, and so they used some other metal that was available, and that changed how the weapon worked in some way, made it better, made it weaker, whatever. They have sort of tried to introduce a little bit of that in this game with the, you know, the plus weapons and all that kind of stuff. Oh god, look at this giant pile of junk. Oh well, I think these are worth the most money. Pretty sure. Let's see. Yep. I'm pretty sure the PPCs are worth the most money. SRMs are cheap, especially considering how good they are. Yeah, so going back to what I was saying, it is possible to do so much more, but if the game is so heavily bound with what the lore is, even though a lot of it was written 20 years ago, then I don't really see BattleTech sort of growing as a franchise, because it's too constrained by its past. But, you know, there has been willingness to retcon, to, you know, go back and change stuff. So there's definitely hope for the franchise, in my opinion. All of this is my opinion. I do feel like there is a lot that can be done. It just isn't. Right, plot, 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 plot. I do like the dramatic music. It was enjoyable the first, like, 5 times I finished the game. Normally I would separate out the story missions. Each story mission would be its own episode, but I'm not sure how easy it is to do that with the inability to save and load. I've never wanted to quit in the middle of a mission for want of causing some sort of problem with the save file. Oh well, it shouldn't be too difficult. So anyway, yeah, I hope that BattleTech sheds some of its burden a little bit and goes back and
Command interface initiated.
starts to really further detail the combat, the weapons, the mechs. It doesn't have to change any of the other stuff at all. I mean, that's all brilliant stuff. You know, in terms of the people, the places, the battles that happened, all that kind of thing. But by necessity of the
Just a
tabletop,
heads up. When we get to a safe distance, I'm going to set off a little surprise I left behind for
the
our
combat
friends.
has been distilled, has been simplified quite a bit.
See, trust me, you're going to love it.
And that's not necessary now, that can change. And it should change. I thought these guys started guarded.
Ah, damn it! I took one in the meat.
Right, okay.
I've got a bandit on my screen.
Getting shot at quite a bit here.
Standing by.
Probably be better off punching this idiot than actually using my primary weapons. those chances to hit. Unless I went for the Shadowhawk.
Waiting for my opening.
Okay. Let's get these idiots killed, shall we? Man, you do not get a lot of ammo for that AC-20.
Orders. Firing on target.
Kill it!
The Directorate must fall.
Critical hit, Commander.
Need something, Chief?
Can I just shoot him in the back? Looks like I can.
Roger that.
Let's go precise, shall we? Just to make sure that all the hits connect more than to put them in any particular place.
Reading you loud and clear.
Right, so... Okay, that'll have to do.
Copy that.
Oof, nice. Well, there goes all of his weapons.
For the Oregon people.
See ya!
Target eliminated. Aye aye.
Ah, the Highlander. Let's just go straight through the front, shall we? If we can.
Ugh!
Oh, you missed! How could you miss?
Oh crap. Missed.
You definitely let me down there. I don't know if any of you saw me do this mission melee only. That was pretty interesting.
Oh, they don't like me
I think I
at
actually
all.
did slightly better then. This has not actually gone that well so far. I mean, I've disabled 2 mechs, but you know.
Receiving you.
Taking a few full health hits here. Wow, this Shadowhawk is DED.
Firing on multiple
Do some tagging. Oh, nice. Boom.
Hope we can salvage that.
Good to go.
Let's try and get this mess cleaned up, shall we? Okay,
Roger.
that should do it. If the shots hit, of course.
Solid connection on that one.
What? More bad news rolling up. However, it isn't
I'm doing
infinite
mine, damn
enemies,
it.
it's just like, there's a set amount, so we can just stay here and just kill them.
I'm here. You have my attention.
Let's see what we can get with Chimera before we do anything else. Okay, well that commando is in big trouble. This is probably overkill. Let's go with this.
Splitting fire. Targets confirmed.
Oh ho ho! Well, that looked like it hurt. Jesus, it's been so long since I played with top-end weapons, I started to forget what they sound like.
Standing by. Up high. All
Come on,
weapons,
kill him.
Fire.
Ooh, unlucky with the Gauss.
Scored a critical hit.
Still plenty of them.
Barely scratched my armor.
Oh, he's backing up. That's good.
Good to go.
This gives me time to cool off,
Heading out.
take a superior tactical position.
Roger.
Nice.
Target neutralized.
Receiving you.
Okay, so what we can do now is sensor lock missile bombardment until they come up here. Just playing it cautiously.
Waiting for orders.
Oh, actually, you've got a shot. Do a vigilance move.
Heading out. I copy.
I can move him next turn out of the way. Nice.
I think I hit something good.
Standing by. Copy that.
Arms away.
Aye, aye. Let's move.
Hopefully these guys have all got breaching shot.
Confirmed.
Looks like they do.
Got past the armor.
Well, the Jenner's nearly dead. Now will the rest of him and his
Barely
buddies
hit,
move
Commander.
forward?
Yes, Commander.
Well, it looks like these guys have just completely exposed themselves. Might as well shoot the Panther. He's actually more of a threat now.
Hey, watch the paint, pal.
Looks like they're all unguarded and they're all just stood there.
What's up, boss? On my way.
Let's finish the job on the Jenner. Nearly. What are these tanks? Oh, okay, a striker. I probably shouldn't have moved out, to be fair. Trying to minimize damage, but anyway, whatever.
Yes, I hear you. I'll make it happen.
Right, let's go with... How much health has a striker got? 90, right? So an AC 20 hit should be fatal. Hopefully it lands. Let's go with this.
I'll do what you ask.
Nice. 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 Well, that was a brutal slaughter. And then the game dramatically zooms into some dirt.
Standing by. Acknowledged.
Let's see if we can put that punishment where it belongs.
Okay, I'm on it.
Nice! That might have been a little bit overkill, to be fair. Still, we have dramatically reduced the amount of enemies.
Losing lots of armor. Yes, Commander.
Oh crap.
Full salvo.
Accidentally overheated the Griffin. Oh well. That's what I get for not paying attention.
Ready for orders.
I mean, it doesn't really matter as long as Chimera survives. This is one of these missions where nothing really matters.
Confirmed.
So we'll just obliterate the obliterize.
Scored a critical.
Murder the enforcer dead.
I'm listening.
And then cool off for a bit. I don't know if I should save the ammo. I think we should save the ammo.
I'll do what you ask.
No need to waste it on this little vehicle.
Reporting one less vehicle. I'm here.
Okay, fire away. Oh, nearly.
Scored a critical hit.
We'll get him next time. Ow.
Reporting major armor loss. Orders.
Cool
Hold it.
off.
Commander.
Ironically, the Black Knight also needs to cool off. Oh, excuse me. Okay, I'm not sure what I hit there. What I didn't hit was CT. I guess these pulse lasers and stuff do stability damage, it would seem, which I did not realize.
Acknowledged. I'm moving. Engaging hostile.
Come on, die. See ya.
Hostile unit down.
Sweet. Now all we need to do is just cool off.
Location confirmed.
His Griffin has taken a ton of abuse. But he's also not very important. Boom! Goodbye, priceless technology. You've got to go.
I'm moving out.
Understood.
Roger that.
Whoever designed this
Heading out.
Griffin is an idiot. I mean, it doesn't even have a huge amount of weapons, and yet it still runs so hot.
Acknowledged.
Got it.
Run, Lady Arano. Run as far as you can. I will find you all the same.
I'll do what you ask.
Roger.
Moving to position.
So...
Coordinates received.
In fact, you can just wait over here. The heavy mechs can actually just wait over here.
Copy that.
No problem.
I'll send
On
the
my way.
Griffin because it's light.
Move into position.
I told you you would die here. Say goodbye to your ride home.
Oh, shit. Incoming!
Confirmed.
No, the dropship. No. Dun dun dun!
We have incoming hostiles.
Get to the secondary LZ.
On my way.
Affirmative.
Acknowledged.
Run!
Holding.
It's a pretty simple cleanup from here.
Aye, aye. Confirmed.
Fire everything! Now, if I remember correctly, the enemy has actually got a couple of assault mechs lying around.
Good to go. On my way.
Somewhere. Oh, there we go.
Losing lots of armor.
Ouch.
I'm listening.
No jump jets. Am I able to go this way? Yes, I am, okay.
I'm on it. Discharging weapons.
Okay,
Ready to
let's
get it
just
on.
get stuck in, shall we?
Let's move. Got a sensor trace.
Is that his rear? Wow, what an idiot. How can I not take advantage of this?
That's right. I'm on your tail.
Oh ho ho!
My forces are closing in on you, Lady Urano. Your time is running out.
Ready. Move order received.
This'll push him back in the turn order. Make sure he doesn't get his go before I'm done killing his ass. What was he thinking?
Target neutralized.
Got something you want done?
I don't know if you guys can hear the sound of a baby crying outside in the car park. Maybe it was the sound of that pilot. No shot.
Lady Urano, we've got incoming assault mechs.
Just another obstacle to overcome.
Okay,
For the
let's carry on. Keep the pain flowing.
Reporting critical hit.
This should be it for the enemies now.
Standing by. Affirmative. Engaging the
Okay.
enemy. Multiple targets.
Fortunately not much in range. I hate not having jump jets, it's like the worst. Jump jets are just like so useful, so helpful.
I'm here.
I can never understand how you can live without them. Okay, let's go with
Position
this.
confirmed.
Because we can. Fire away.
Here we go.
Hopefully, we kill the Vindicator. Nice. Ooh, LRM ammo explosion.
Got past the armor.
That's nice as well. Down to 3 enemy assaults. One of which has taken some really heavy damage. This is certainly a lot easier than meleeing my way through this.
Orders.
Right, before you do that. Let's turn that one off. That'll do. It's more of a tagging shot than anything else. Oh, except I did it the wrong way around. Oh well, at least all the shots hit.
Receiving you. Firing all weapons.
Fire away. What is the last mech? It's an awesome. I certainly wouldn't mind capturing that if you could, but I don't think you get anything out of this mission if I remember correctly.
Reading you loud and clear.
Nice. Ooh, that could be fatal. It is.
Follow me to victory. Scratch one hostile.
Very nice. Meanwhile, the Black Knight is just soaking up the damage.
Took a hard hit there.
Like an evil sponge.
Standing by. Here we go.
Ooh, nice. Now, once we take out the Battlemaster, we're pretty much home free. These are the 2 mechs which I want the most, the Awesome and the Battlemaster.
Smile as it burns.
Because they truly do have the hard points.
Targeting Alpha Strike. Scored a critical hit.
Standing by.
Standing by. Pulse laser should hopefully knock him over. I guess it's only the PPC that's got stability damage. I was wrong before.
Confirmed.
Well, he didn't fall over. Oh, that center torso is getting a pounding.
Taking internal damage.
Tell me what you need.
Which is fine. We can deal with that.
Sounds good. I'm moving. Handling multiple opponents.
Fire at will. Nice.
Pierced through the armor.
Oof, oof. She won't take much more.
I'm here.
I think the time has come to withdraw the Battle
Go
Master.
ahead and run, Lady Kamea. You won't get far. I volunteered for this shit assignment so I can have the pleasure of hunting you down. And when I catch you, I will make you pay for the death of my son.
Let's go with this. Trying to get those chances to hits up by spreading the engagement ranges.
Multiple enemies.
Oh, nice. Blah 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 blah.
Standing by.
I don't mean to sound cold-hearted, but blah 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 blah. That's what I think of your personal problems, Mr. Ostergaard.
Locking in. All weapons.
Okay, there goes all his weapons.
Reporting. Critical hit.
And he got knocked down. We can pretty much focus on the awesome now.
Receiving you.
You just need to like rotate so that you're not getting your CT pounded. Let's see if we can put a shot in here.
Target acquired.
Oh, nice, we did. Removes one PPC from the fight. It's pretty good. Remember, if you are struggling with a story mission, I mean, I'm not saying that I'm struggling here, this is pretty easy, but remember to remove firepower, not mechs. That's what you want to get rid of.
Aye, aye. Acknowledged.
Try and obviously take accurate shots. Okay, he's
Yes,
almost
I hear
done.
you. I'm on the move.
Jesus, these things run hot, don't they?
I have you outflanked.
Nice.
The directorate must fall. Battle mech eliminated.
Sweet. And this time we don't have to run in disgrace from this mission because melee only made this basically impossible. So I had to cheese my way through it.
I'm on my way. Confirmed.
Roger.
If you're interested in watching me beat this mission melee only, just go to my AC2 campaign and I beat this mission melee only. It was pretty tough, but that is the reason why I changed the rules and said that pre-built mechs could just be used as they are, because I mean it was fun and it was nice to see if it could be done. But after doing it, I wouldn't want to bet a campaign on it. You know, imagine if I lose this mission and then, you know, all the actual interesting challenges that might come from the contracts would be lost. Future challenges, I suppose. But anyway, I've done it before. Story missions don't Oh, you do get to pick up salvage. I didn't think that you did. Oh well, whatever. I could have potentially had a lot more pieces of things that I want. Still, there's plenty of stuff. Yeah, the story missions don't change depending on the difficulty, so it doesn't really make any difference. Can load up a save game and play a story mission, it would be the same as with any settings. It's interesting that BattleTech doesn't have any story missions, actually. I don't know if it's because it's not easy to do. Okay. Our Deus Ex Machina virus has gone back in its hard drive.
That mech you asked for is clear
Right.
for fighting.
Now, do I get it as is? Oh, I do! Awesome. Sweet. I get it as is, so I can use it. But if any of the equipment gets lost, then I can't replace it. So I will keep that for emergencies. Or for story missions. Okay, we didn't take any actual damage, so we are good to go. And look at that. A snow-based capture base. Perfect. 3 skull, good money, good salvage. Off we go.
Course now, Commander.
Right. We'll get to the next planet, and then that'll be it for now. I hope you enjoyed this this episode. I tried to make it interesting. I've not got any stockpile of episodes at the moment, so this is being recorded 6 hours before it's due to go out. Just because I've been busy. Okay, and that's it for now. I will see you guys next time, and I hope you enjoyed this.